If you're going to communicate with somebody, you have to start from wherever they are, not from wherever you are. It's not that you bring somebody else up to your understanding, it's that you go to wherever their understanding is and you take little tiny steps, one at a time, to help them reach a better understanding. You cannot communicate unless you start with where your audience exists. So my book is basically metaphysics, philosophy, physics for, the Western mind, so that you can see this in terms of logic, science, why it has to be this way, how it explains things, do the experiment, that kind of thing, and that's the whole point of me doing it. I'm putting it into a contemporary physics metaphor that actually ends up doing better physics. It solves physics problems as well. The same metaphor it now explains things like wave-particle duality and quantum mechanics and relativity theory, why C is constant. All those things fall out of it just as well. So if the model is good, then it should deliver better physics as well as better metaphysics. You should be able to explain everything. Well, that was my point. That's why I wrote my big toe. I gave it a try, my best shot. The New Age community can do whatever it does, and of course it's not scientific, and it can meet those needs. But today, science is the religion of the West. It's the scientists who tell us what we should believe and what we shouldn't. It's the scientists that tell us what is true and what is false. So basically, they take the place of the priests of olden times. Science is our Western religion, and if science says this is a credible, good thing, you can believe this, then people will, because they're the priests of our culture. It's all based on belief, you see, and science has its own set of beliefs, but they're more compatible to us. They're more, we accept them. They believe that this reality is objective. We accept that. Things like that, because we can deal with that. It doesn't, it's intellectual, it's logical, it makes sense to us, whereas the beliefs of religion don't make sense to us. They're not logical. One, I'm a scientist, so that's one reason I write my book in terms of science, but the second is that if you are going to have a major impact on society as far as helping them understand how reality works, what their point and purpose is in this life, and so on, then first you need to get the high priests of our culture to agree with you. Because once they agree with you, then you're basically, credible. What you say is right and makes sense in your culture. So first you have to get the high priest to agree. Now what that means is what you have to do is do physics. You have to do physics that's better physics. That solves physics problems. That gives physicists better physics to work with. And if at the same time it derives reality, then you'll have something that will stick in the mind of our culture. Whereas otherwise, you're just another New Age person, talking about things that you either can believe or not believe, but they're not something that is logical and that you know. So, and my idea is that you need to approach metaphysics from physics. You need to be able to produce a better physics that then allows you to derive the metaphysics from the physics, and hey, then you're in. So that's basically what I'm doing with my books. It is a credibility game. If you don't have credibility, then you can't make a difference. No matter whether what you say is true or not, if you have no credibility, then you have no ability to be helpful or to useful. So your usefulness to people depends on your credibility to those people. Otherwise, they write you off as being non-credible. The way to be credible is to be logical and to be scientific. So it's not just authority. It's if you want to make a difference, if you want to be credible, then you have to go through the process of being logical and rational and left brain in our culture. Now, in different cultures, that's not the case, but in our culture, that's the case. Now, of course, the point where we're all trying to, where you would want to get to, and where it is the best place to be, is to be whole-brained. Not to be dominant left or dominant right. You need that left logical decision-making part of you, and you need that right, holistic, one with all part of you, but they should not be in competition, They should be integrated into one whole thing, and then you can live in multiple realities all at once. You don't have to be just constrained to this linear, Western rational reality. You can live in a much bigger reality space. I'm also not just in this reality. While I'm at work and while I'm doing this stuff, I live and exist and experience in several realities kind of simultaneously. So I live in a bigger world, but I still live in this world. So I have to do the things that have to be done here. Instead of living in one reality or another, I just live in the larger reality all the time. And the thing that's neat is that they help. I'm better at solving problems at work because I also I see the problems from a different perspective than just this perspective from here. I have a different take on them, and the same. I do better with it all adds. It's all synergistic. It all adds. The bigger picture, the bigger decision space that you have, because the larger reality that you live in, the more effective you are in all the realities. We tend to think, well, I'm either left brain or I'm right brain, and I can do right brain things or left brain things, but the whole point is to be whole brained and do it all together and do it all at once. Whereas you just live in the whole brain rather than, well, I've got these left brain things I do, and then I quit that and I put that down and I go sit down and meditate and do these right brain things. I meditate while I work. I meditate while I do email. I do it all at once. There's thousands of people who have gotten pieces of the answer, and they all are right, and it's like this. There's only one truth, but there are thousands of expressions of that truth, and they're all valid. They're all good expressions. There's hundreds of models of that truth, and they all have their place. The point is, they also have some limitations and some places where they don't go. So you use what's good in whatever you find, wherever you find it, and let the rest go. And that's the same for my models. Somebody reads my models and they may find everything there, or they may find only a piece of it there. What they read that doesn't fit and doesn't work for them, leave it alone, let it go. What they find that works for them, then use it.